Hey guys, wanted to get a little more content to you from the content mines here on YouTube. I have been watching the defeat of Viktor Orban in Hungary and wanted to get my thoughts on it with Peter Magyar's victory, kind of what it means to me, what it means for the United States, and what it means globally. I think the first thing to take away is this really shows the centrality of populism to our time, right? The more you can position yourself as anti-incumbency, anti-establishment, anti-corruption. These are the broader trends that drove people like Orban and Trump and Milei in Argentina. These kinds of outside actors, right, who position themselves as anti-establishment, are now part of the establishment. I've been writing about this since the first paper I wrote about the QAnon movement back in 2017. I wrote the first the crappy feather in my cap is writing the first peer-reviewed paper about QAnon. You guys can go find that online. But what I said was, what happens when this thing becomes the establishment? And I think we've seen that with Orban, right? He became part of the system, right? And that takes away a lot of your power. And I think that's got to be the message if you're trying to defeat right-wing populism. You need to seize the populist outside perspective. Secondarily, I think Hungary, like the United States, is a system that centralizes and makes very important rural votes. It's a system biased towards rural voters, and Orban made that even more the case. So if you want to win, you have to play by that rule. You can change it once you win, but you have to win rural votes, and as Magyar has done, position yourself as somewhat of a centrist to bring those people over. Um, More globally speaking, I think this is not a novel observation, but it shows that Trump and Vance's brand and their endorsement is really not very helpful. I think it's a increasingly toxic brand. We're seeing that in Australia, we're seeing that in France, we're seeing that in Canada, in the UK, and it's Trump is damaging conservatism globally. More nebulously, I think there's this idea. I watched a report out. My Hungarian is not very good, but I think it's pronounced Rinser-Valpás. Magyar talks about a system change and how that is what he seeks in this election, and how to reform the system. And I think this kind of goes hand in hand with the populism is changing that system, changing the constitutional fundaments. Once you do win, you have to promise big to defeat these people. And finally, obviously, this makes the EU much stronger. We're looking at the imminent unlocking of that 90 billion euro package for Ukraine. And I think what this means long term is the intensity of the Ukraine war will pick up dramatically with that increased funding from the EU and from the increased funding from Russia's oil revenue. So that war will continue to get more intense. Thanks as always. Leave your comments below.